Hi friends, please settle down and close your eyes. So in the last lecture, friends, we had discussed racial stratification. Quickly, define race for me, beta. No, sorry, it's not about where they come from. Sorry. That's a very, with due respect, that's a very incorrect way of putting it. It's not about where they come from. Based on physical attributes. Can you give me a more formal definition?
Yes, sir.
Proper,
Race is a social group that are defined on the basis of phenotypical and physical differences.
बिल्कुल. Based on phenotypical या physical differences. Phenotypical होता है जो observable physical attributes होते हैं, है ना? ठीक है. Then, from racial stratification, you should be mentioning any question the Black Lives Matter movement. You should be among scholars. You must mention Du Bois. It's like writing an answer on untouchability without mentioning Ambedkar. If you write on race or racial discrimination without mentioning Du Bois. So Du Bois is a must. Then amongst the contemporary people, you can use, say, Joe Fegan and Ali Ratansi because he talks about old and new forms of racism. Okay? So consider these as the bare minimum scholars to be remembered from the topic of racial stratification. Okay? What does Ali Ratansi say, brother? Yes. What is old racism? Okay. Very good. So old racism justifies racial discrimination because of the perceived, biological innate inferiority of the blacks, while new racism does not condone or rely upon the so-called biological or innate natural inferiority, but rather it perceives the black subculture as somewhat defective. ठीक है. And what does Du Bois say? Absent. What does Du Bois say? हाँ जी, Du Bois. बताइए. रिवाइज नहीं किया. बिटिया, look up. Ask her to look up. Yes, tell me. What does Du Bois say? NAACP. हाँ, बिल्कुल. Yes. ठीक है. And what is his assessment? What does he say about racism in the US? That it's not only at the level of the individual, it is institutionalized. Racism in the US in his times was institutionalized. हाँ, ठीक है. अब चलते हैं जीवन में आगे. Now this concept of race, friends, was very, what should I say, was put to good use, okay, by Western societies in order to justify, legitimize exploitative systems like slavery in the US or apartheid in Africa, or colonialism in different parts of the world, including Asia and Africa, right? All was well till now. This concept of race, the Western population stopped relying upon it. Once this concept of race or this notion of racial superiority was put to use by who? Why? When some movement or some party or some great ruler used this concept of race, after that it lost its legitimacy. Hitler, Lincoln क्या? ना Lincoln थोड़ी ना, Lincoln तो अच्छा आदमी था. Hitler. When the Nazi regime in Germany under Hitler's leadership, it talked of the racial superiority of the Germanic race or the Aryan race and viewed the Jews as a not just non-Aryan, but also, it compared Jews to rats, rodents, or, pestilence which needs to be eliminated. Are you with me? That otherwise they are like destroying the body politic, the German body politic. So when this notion of race was abused by Hitler, by Nazi Germany, after that it lost its legitimacy. So this Holocaust of the Jews, or the extermination of the Jews, systematic extermination of the Jews in Germany, that discredited the concept of race. Right? And UNESCO, right, came out with a statement. What? It is supposed to. One sec. UNESCO, one second, came out with a statement titled The Race Question. The Race Question. So this statement was signed by several world leaders, leading scientists, anthropologists, sociologists, etc., which basically condemned racial discrimination. You will not move ahead without slides, I think. So, ठीक. So, UNESCO came out with a statement titled The Race Question, which strongly condemned racial discrimination. The original statement was in 1950, and then there were subsequent revisions, revised versions of this document. Basically, what this UNESCO statement signed by top scientists, etc., social scientists, educators, policymakers said that, basically it argued that it is wrong to assume that people who have different physical attributes also have varying levels of intelligence or capabilities. Are you with me? लिखो. According to UNESCO statement titled The Race Question, people with different physical attributes do not have significantly different levels of capabilities and intelligence. Okay? And this document, friends, also underscored that all people, all human beings, irrespective of their physical attributes, all human beings, irrespective of their physical attributes, are equally deserving of human dignity. Equally deserving of human dignity. Matlab kya? Blacks cannot be considered subhuman like they were. In the slavery system, blacks were owned by whites. Quite like, blacks were, for instance, considered as somewhat closer to nature or more raw, unrefined, uncivilized, or animal-like, very bluntly put. So if I can own a pet, I can own a black person. That was the mindset. And this was against this racist mindset that the UNESCO question underlined how all persons, all human beings, irrespective of what is their skin color or physical attributes, they are equally deserving of human dignity. Alright? Does it mean there are no differences in people's intelligence? That I am as intelligent as you are? Or as she is? Or are there differences? There are differences, but not at the level of population. Or, in simple terms, you can have extremely intelligent whites and very dumb whites, and you can have extremely intelligent blacks and dumb blacks. Yes or no? So it's not, but you can't say, when you are denouncing racism, what we are saying is we can't say that all blacks or blacks as a population have lower levels of intelligence than whites. Clear? दूसरी बात, are there differences between populations? Are there any differences between groups of people? Or let us say, are there any differences between blacks and whites? Or not?
Sir, not exactly black white, but in geographical differences there are many differences. Like for
Say, okay,
like for example, in India only people living in mountainous regions, like Gurkhas and people in like those regions, and like people from
say on the sea coast.
the sea coast of plains, they are physically different.
We are not talking about physical differences. Apart from that, are there any differences? The race question suggests the physical differences are not too material. Okay, your skin may be different from mine. I live high up in the mountains, I may have red cheeks. You live in a equatorial kind of a climate, you may have dark skin. But that is immaterial. Okay, but tell me, are there any other differences? Yes, there are differences. Clearly, the black lifestyle, food habits, etc., thank you, are vastly different from those of other groups. But these differences are socio-cultural. These differences are socio-cultural. They are not natural or, innate or biological or genetic. Any differences between populations are, or social groups are, socio-cultural. And when this notion of, groups having socio-cultural differences was accepted, there was a shift towards the concept of ethnicity. Biological differences are not too material. They do not indicate differences in capabilities or intelligence. But different groups of people have socio-cultural differences. And that is when academia, or in public discourse, we shifted towards the use of the concept of ethnicity. Ethnicity means what? I'll dictate, okay, but just bear with me. Ethnicity means what? Simply that it's a group of people who have a sense of belonging together or an attachment to each other based on some shared element of culture. It could be, very importantly, language. It could be religion. It could be tribal identity. It could be food habits. So I feel that you and I are one because we have a shared something. Yes? Yes, absolutely. So for instance, so you do have different groups, but these are different ethnic groups or ethnic identities. Likh lo, then we'll take examples. Ethnicity or ethnic group refers to a group of people who identify with each other, due to some shared elements of culture. Some shared elements of culture, such as a shared language, or religion, tribal identity, shared customs, common ancestry, and a shared sense of history. Typically, friends, ethnic groups or members of an ethnic group consider that there are some sort of, there's some sort of a common ancestor from which all of them have descended. So there is assumed common descent, typically fictitious, because it's not possible for a very large group to have descended from a real common ancestor. So it's typically a fictitious common ancestor. Now, also please appreciate, so for example, Indian society, there are numerous ethnic groups, numerous ethnic identities. For example, those who speak a particular language. Can we say Tamils are an ethnic group? And Punjabis are another ethnic group. Bengalis are another ethnic group. So the Tamil people, they eat the Tamil cuisine. They speak the Tamil language. Yes or no? And so on and so forth. Which is very different from the language, the customs, the whatever, etc., of the Bengali people or the Kashmiri people. So these are all different ethnic groups. Or can we say that the Santhals are an ethnic group? Yes or no? The Bakarwals are another ethnic group. The Sentinelese, these are different tribes. The Oraon, the Minas, these are ethnic groups. ठीक? Can Muslims be considered an ethnic group? Yes, they can be. Religion is a very strong adhesive. It provides a very strong sense of belonging. So all Muslims may feel one, that we are one community. Yes or no? We have a similar lifestyle because we are Muslim. So Muslims are an ethnic group, Hindus are an ethnic group, Sikhs are an ethnic group, Christians are an ethnic group. Can Brahmins be regarded as an ethnic group? And Jats be regarded as an ethnic group? So yes, caste-based identity can also be a basis for group formation or identification. Are you with me? So different castes can be considered as different ethnic groups. Clear? So India, friends, is clearly host to numerous ethnicities or numerous ethnic groups. Clear? Mention just any couple of as examples. Now, there are two broad schools of thought which explain ethnicity in different ways. Okay? There is one which we call the primordialist approach to ethnicity, championed by scholars like Clifford Geertz. Before I discuss the primordial view, I just want to take you back to the colonial period of Indian history. The British used to, consider certain social groups as what they regarded as martial races. Have you heard of this phrase, martial races? Which groups were considered as martial races by the British? The Sikhs, Pathans, Jats, Gurkhas, right? So these are martial races in the sense they are, somehow born warriors kind or born with a sense of aggression and conquest and, right? Are these now, what is our current level of understanding? What do we call them? Sikhs and Gurkhas and Jats, etc. These are what? Are these martial races? What are they? You said regiment. That's not the matter. How they are classified in the army, this thing. But these are different ethnic groups. Marathas are an ethnic group different from the Jats, from the Gurkhas, from the so on and so forth. Theek? Now coming to the primordialist understanding of ethnicity. What these guys argue, I'll dictate also briefly, just hear me out. What these guys argue that, the word primordial, by the way, means very old. Something prachintam. That's the literal English meaning of the word primordial. So what these guys argue, that, human beings tend to attach a lot of importance to ties of blood, to ties of blood. Or what we can say, kinship ties. Simply, kinship means, kin means relatives. Right? People have almost a primordial attachment to those who are similar to them. Or specifically to those with whom they share kinship relations or ties of blood. खून खून होता है, खून पानी नहीं होता है. खून का रिश्ता is beyond everything. So people give a lot of importance to खून के रिश्ते और kinship ties. Now, whom will I feel attached to? My brother or my first cousin? Brother. My first cousin or my third cousin? First cousin. My third cousin or the 10th cousin? The 10th cousin or the non-cousin? The 10th cousin. In other words, the closer you are to me in terms of blood relations, and so the ethnic group is like an extended kin group. The ethnic group is like an extended kin group. Are you with me? So साफ बात है, I will be more attached, more attracted to, feel more more one with a baniya or a jat. बनिया. मेरे रिश्तेदार कौन है? बनिए हैं. मैं किस में पला बड़ा हूं? बनियों में. मेरी बीवी कौन है? मेरे बच्चे कौन हैं? मेरे माता पिता कौन हैं? तो मेरा कंफर्ट किसके साथ है? बनियों के साथ है. तो इट इज बट नेचुरल that I will have a greater level of comfort or a sense of belonging with fellow Banyas than Brahmins or Jats or Gujars or any other castes. Are you with me? It is, the Banyas are like an extended kin group. वाकई में if you belong to the Banya community, बनियों में आप ढूंढो रिश्तेदारी निकल ही आती है. ठीक है? आप शादी के लिए भी रिश्ते जाओ ना, कहेंगे अच्छा आप उनको जानते हो, उनसे हाँ हम भी जानते हैं, कहीं ना कहीं से निकाल लेंगे. So मतलब there are certain long lost ties. Likewise, friends, whom will I feel more comfortable with, more attached to? A Hindi speaker or a Tamil speaker? Zahir hai Hindi speaker. It is natural, it is obvious, it is basic, it is elementary that any person will be more closely attached to those who speak the same language as him. Those who worship the same gods as him, those who eat the same foods as he does, and so on and so forth. Are you with me? जिस तमिल से मैं बात नहीं कर सकता, उससे मैं क्या खाक अटैच होऊंगा? Language is the very basis of society formation. If I can't communicate with you, how the hell will I get attached to you? Are you with me? So, it's like attracts like. The more you are like me, the more I like you. Okay, I didn't intend it to be this way, but this is what it is. The more we are similar, the more I am attracted to you. And this is very innate, very natural. तो ये है primordial view of ethnicity. Clear? लिखो. Clifford Geertz puts forth the primordialist approach to understand ethnicity. Full stop. According to him, people have a primordial attachment. People have a primordial attachment towards those with whom they share ties of blood. Full stop. An ethnic group is seen as an extended kin group. Full stop. Therefore, people have a very strong, deep-rooted, natural, primal, and almost unconquerable affinity to other members of their ethnic group. Affinity, unconquerable affinity. Unconquerable, very, So अगर जब भी मैं कोई बनिया देखता हूं, मैं खिंचा चला आता हूं उसकी ओर. Okay? That is what it is. Unconquerable affinity towards other members of their ethnic group. Clear? A very different understanding of ethnicity and ethnic groups is forwarded by scholars like Frederick Barth in what is known as the instrumentalist approach. He forwards the instrumentalist explanation of ethnicity. ये भी डिक्टेट कर दूंगा, बट पहले समझते हैं. बार्थ क्या बात कहते हैं? ये बात कहते हैं दैट एथनिसिटी कोई बड़ी प्राइमल अट्रैक्शन नहीं होती है. व्हाट दी प्रिमोर्डियलिस्ट्स आर सेइंग. एथनिक आइडेंटिटी, एथनिक अटैचमेंट, एथनिक ग्रुप membership and sense of belonging is contingent. It is situational. It changes as the needs of the situation demand. साफ बात है, which of my ethnic identities becomes salient depends on what the social context is. So ethnicity का मैं एक इंस्ट्रूमेंटल, मैं कौन? इंडिविजुअल. I choose. It's a choice. Ethnic identity is a choice which I make in instrumental terms. Instrumental मतलब इंस्ट्रूमेंट है यानी जरिया है. It's a means to an end. It is not some primal attraction or attachment. Depending on the context, I choose which ethnic identity or which ethnic group do I want to belong to. For example, if we are demanding that Haryana be carved out as a separate state of the Haryanavi speaking people from the combined Punjab. Okay, earlier it was a part of Punjab. That time, my Haryanavi identity comes to the fore. But when the matter is about caste-based reservations, then my Jat identity comes to the fore. Are you with me? And when the Ram Janmabhoomi dispute is going on, my Hindu identity comes to the fore. So मैं कौन हूं? मैं हिंदू हूं, मैं जाट हूं, मैं हरियाणवी हूं या क्या हूं? ये किस पे निर्भर करेगा? सिचुएशन पे. मतलब मेरे सामने कौन खड़ा है? Who is the other? Who is the enemy? Bluntly. अगर मेरा एनिमी मुस्लिम है तो मैं हिंदू हूं. अगर मेरे एनिमी अदर कास्ट हैं तो मैं जाट हूं. क्लियर? सो एथनिसिटी जो होती है वो फिक्स्ड नहीं होती, फ्लूइड होती है, चेंजिंग होती है, डायनामिक होती है. एज द सिचुएशन डिमांड्स, my sense of affiliation or belonging will change. Clear? तो लिखो. Barth prefers the instrumental explanation of ethnicity. Full stop. He suggests that ethnic groups and identities are not fixed. Full stop. Ethnic identities are continuously negotiated in the social context. In the social context. Full stop. Ethnic boundaries. He uses this phrase, it's like integral. While writing, Barth mentioned ethnic boundaries. Ethnic boundaries are continuously drawn and redrawn depending on the demand of the changing socio-political situation. ठीक? तो ये है. They are not necessarily opposing, but these are different explanations of the concept of ethnicity, approaching them from very different directions. One sees it as arising out of this very primal human desire to be one with those who are of a similar kind, या जिससे we share एक खून का रिश्ता. For the other, it's an instrument. That people are pragmatic. They choose which group they want to belong to, based on the situation and what they are seeking. चलिए. Donald Noel. We'll be relying upon Noel to give a framework, a theoretical framework for ethnic stratification. So Noel says that ethnic stratification emerges in a society. लिखते जाओ साथ में, it is like self-explanatory, or I'll keep elaborating wherever required. Ethnic stratification emerges in a society when certain conditions are fulfilled. क्या conditions? Firstly, different ethnic groups are brought into contact with each other. जाहिर है एक ही होगा तो कैसे ही स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन होगा, ठीक है? सो देयर हैज टू बी सम सॉर्ट ऑफ एन एक्सचेंज बिटवीन डिफरेंट एथनिक ग्रुप्स, राइट? इट हैज टू बी अ मल्टी एथनिक सिचुएशन, साफ. सेकंड, देयर इंटरैक्शन is characterized by competition for limited resources. Competition for limited resources. साफ बात है, कुछ कमी होनी चाहिए जिसके ऊपर मुठभेड़ हो, तभी तो मैं आपके ऊपर आ पाऊंगा. व्हेन आई गेट इट मोर देन यू डू, राइट? से जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज हो सकती हैं, एजुकेशनल फैसिलिटीज हो सकती हैं, कुड बी एनीथिंग, सो मेनी थिंग्स. पॉलिटिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन हो सकता है, सो मेनी थिंग्स, राइट? Thirdly, there are differences in power. There are differences in power. And fourthly, ethnocentric attitudes are prevalent. Ethnocentric attitudes are prevalent. What do we mean by ethnocentric attitude? Have we discussed this word earlier? We haven't. Can't be. We have. What does it mean? Considering one's own way of life, one's own culture as superior to that of others. That is ethnocentrism. Okay? And a lot of people have this tendency to regard their own culture as superior to that of others, or to regard it as the only right one, and to regard others' way of life as wrong, or misguided, or astray, or whatever. ठीक? So when you have these four things, meaning you have different social groups who are in contact, competing for scarce resources, some groups are more powerful than others, and then of course you have an ethnocentric bias. That is when you will have an ethnic stratification develop. That is also when you will see you can use this framework to also explain ethnic conflicts. Ethnic conflicts. For example, the present day conflict between Maitis and Kukis in Manipur. Yes or no? You have multiple ethnic groups. You have Maitis and Kukis and Nagas and others. It's the ethnic cauldron of, literally, it's like a, rife with ethnic strife. Yes or no? You have numerous tribal communities in the northeast. Resources and opportunities are scarce over which they are competing. In fact, this particular conflict was triggered by a high court judgment which claimed that, or which designated Maitis as scheduled tribes, which would have reduced the corresponding benefits that the Kukis, who were already designated as STs, they could avail. Are you with me? There are power differentials clearly. Power differentials in the sense, who are more power? Maitis have been historically more powerful in the valley. Kukis, I think, are more numerous. Kukis? Correct me if I'm wrong. Maitis are more numerous. I think Kukis are. Chaliye, let's keep that out because that's a matter of contention. We'll have to check that up. But be that as it may, there are clear power differentials, and then you have ethnocentric mindsets and biases, right? There are religious differences also, Hindus and Christians ka. So a lot of that is contributing to the clashes, right? So ये है ethnicity. Similarly, can we perhaps understand communal riots, Hindu-Muslim clashes as an ethnic conflict, a clash between different ethnicities? We can understand caste-based mobilization and conflicts as an outcome of ethnic identities and their clashes. Yes or no? These are all examples of ethnicity. And India is a land which is home to numerous ethnic identities. And from those arise numerous ethnic movements, ethnic clashes, ethnic stratification. Right? ठीक है? चलिए. With that we are done with various dimensions of social stratification, except for caste, which will be done in paper 2. Moving on to social mobility. What is social mobility, friends? When someone can change their, correct? When someone can change their status, you are saying. In loose English language, that is fine. That is what is social mobility. Let us say when someone can change their social position. Because status has a very specific meaning in sociological literature. Right? That is social mobility. Simply, if I am born in a poor family and I can, through the dint of hard work or whatever opportunities I avail, I can become middle class. That is social mobility. Or if I am born middle class, but then due to happenstance, circumstances, I fall into the lower class, then that is also social mobility. Right? तो लिखो. Pitirim Sorokin, in his book Social and Cultural Mobility, the book name is Social and Cultural Mobility, writes that social mobility refers to any transition of an individual from one social position to another. ठीक है? Now, depending on whether a society permits social mobility or it does not, societies can be designated into either of the two types, namely open systems and closed systems. A society can be of two types, open या closed. Open system means it permits social mobility. It permits social mobility. Meaning what? That there are no structural barriers that prevent people from changing their social position, right? There are no structural barriers to mobility. Can you give me an example of a society which does erect structural barriers to mobility? Caste system. You are not permitted to change your caste in the caste system, right? So that prohibits and prevents, erects barriers against mobility. But in open systems, there are no structural barriers. There is nothing preventing individuals from changing or improving their social position. A classic example of an open system would be class in modern industrial society. It is regarded as an open system. Okay? Meaning, if I am born working class, can I become middle class? The answer is yes. But if I am born Banya, can I become Brahmin? No. Okay? Now, open systems not only do not have barriers to mobility, instead, in fact, they facilitate mobility. They provide avenues for mobility. दोनों चीजें हो गई, रोकते नहीं हैं और फैसिलिटेट भी करते हैं. Matlab, it ensures that there are certain mechanisms in the society through which or using which people can improve their social position. Right? So, what are some such ways or mechanisms or avenues for mobility in an open system? Like, say, class, education, or enterprise. राइट जॉब्स, हाँ, मतलब वो सब उसमें आ गया. यू विल यूज योर एंटरप्राइज एंड हार्ड वर्क एंड स्किल एक्विजिशन. मैरिज कुड बी इट, व्हाई नॉट? यू गेट मैरिड टू अ रिचर पर्सन. इट विल नॉट बी परमिटेड इन द कास्ट सिस्टम. मतलब यू कांट मैरी इन अ कास्ट अबव, इट्स थ्योरेटिकली प्रोहिबिटेड. We will come to it. Okay, caste we'll discuss, it's a little more complex. Or if now, since you have mentioned it, let me say, theoretically, caste system prohibits mobility. Practically, it does happen through ways like what you are referring to, calling Sanskritization. It's more complex than that. Okay, so whether women in the caste system can marry up, okay, we'll discuss in paper 2. Caste system is premised upon endogamy. So the most preferred type of marriage is endogamous, or you marry within your own caste. Women marrying in a higher caste, women from a lower caste marrying in a higher caste is, I'll say, tolerated. Okay, not encouraged or not prescribed. It is tolerated. Women marrying a man of a lower caste is strongly condemned and punished. Okay, so we'll discuss all of that in paper 2. Sticking with the class system, it is a classic example of an open society which provides avenues for or opportunities for social mobility through mechanisms like education, skill acquisition, harnessing one's talents and abilities, enterprise, etc. Also marriage. Why not? Okay? Closed system is what? A society which does not permit social mobility. Meaning that there are structural barriers which prevent people from changing their social position. ठीक? For example, the caste system. So I am born a Baniya and I will die a Baniya. And then you ask me, why am I so attached to Baniyas? Of racial stratification is another example of a closed system. You can't change your race unless and until you are Michael Jackson. Okay? Ironically, the guy who sang "It Doesn't Matter Whether You Are Black or White." Huh? Okay. No. That's more complex. Huh? So, closed systems do not permit mobility. They erect barriers which prevent people from changing their social position. And in closed systems, the society maintains very rigid boundaries between social groups. The society maintains rigid boundaries between social groups. Boundaries matlab, people cannot cross over from one group to another. I cannot be Baniya today and Brahmin tomorrow and Lingayat day after. Are you with me? Can I be inner class society, working class today and middle class tomorrow and high class the day after? Yes, I can be. Right? But I cannot. In the caste system or in closed systems, you would have rigid boundaries being maintained strictly between different social groups. ठीक? Social mobility can be of two types. And this is tough, I'll need your help. Vertical and horizontal. Thank you. Vertical mobility is what? Moving from one social strata to a higher or lower social strata. That is vertical mobility. Horizontal mobility is what? Movement from one social position to another at the same level. Horizontal mobility will be movement from one social position to another at near about the same level. Matlab without moving up or down. Vertical mein you move up or down. Horizontal mein your social position changes, but your the strata to which you belong may not change. For example, I may be a woman born to middle class parents. I marry a middle class man. My social position has changed, but horizontally, not vertically. Or I may be an agricultural laborer in the village. I come to the city and become a construction site worker. Are you with me? Social position changes without any change in the level or strata to which one belongs. Say a woman marrying a working class woman or a woman born to working class parents marrying a working class man. Okay? So her social position would change, but this thing will not change. The class or the level to which she belongs does not change. Position changes, bhaiya. From a beti she becomes a bahu. A very different social identity. There will be geographical this thing also. Migration se bhi ho sakta hai social position change at the horizontal level. ठीक है? These are all examples of horizontal mobility. Vertical mobility will be moving up or down. Okay, I'm the son of an agricultural laborer and I become an accountant. That's vertical mobility. I rise up. ठीक है? Sorry? Caste का we'll discuss separately. For now, consider caste में नहीं होता. ठीक है? Now, in horizontal mobility, please write, in horizontal mobility, the shifting takes place. The shifting takes place without any noticeable change. Without any noticeable change. In the social position of the individual. In the vertical direction. Without any noticeable change in the social position of the individual in the vertical direction. Full stop. ठीक? Now, as sociologists or social scientists, as policy makers, which of the two is of greater concern or interest to us? Vertical mobility as horizontal? साफ बात है, vertical mobility. असली mobility कौन सी है? Vertical. Horizontal तो फर्जी mobility है, नाम की mobility है ना? Different का different और same का same. खाक mobility है. ठीक? So, if you are more interested in vertical mobility, then vertical mobility can be of two types. Help me out here. Upward and downward. Dhanyavad. Upward mobility and downward social mobility. Upward mobility is what? Movement from a strata to a higher strata. Downward would be movement from a strata to a lower strata. Okay, example, upward ka, son of an agricultural laborer becomes a whatever. ठीक है, IS officer, if you please. Becomes a civil servant. Downward mobility ka? Say whatever, the son of a manager becomes a supervisor or something, you know. As a society, which of the two, as policy makers, as society, or as social scientists, which of the two interests us more? Upward mobility or downward mobility? Upward or downward? Clearly, upward social mobility is of greater interest or concern. Why? Because we want to ensure that people have opportunities to rise up or improve their social position. Instead of wanting that, people fall down. Right? We are more interested as societies to ensure that people with abilities in lower strata can rise up or improve their social position. ठीक? Social mobility can also be classified into two other types. अगेन आपसे हेल्प चाहूंगा बेटिया. यस, intergenerational and intragenerational. Intergenerational and intragenerational. Intergenerational means what? नहीं, विदिन नहीं होता बिटिया, इंट्रा होता है विदिन. Intergenerational means comparing across generations. In other words, while measuring intergenerational social mobility, we compare the occupations of fathers with sons, not daughters, by the way. क्या करें, रिसर्च में patriarchal bias है. Comparing the occupations of fathers and sons would indicate intergenerational mobility. ठीक? Meaning what? For example, if the son of an agricultural laborer becomes a civil servant, that is intergenerational mobility. Intragenerational mobility matlab comparing the position, social position of an individual within one generation, okay, or at 2 points of time in the career of one person. That at the beginning of his career, he was at this level, and at the end of his career, he was at this level. That would capture intragenerational mobility within the same generation. Saying comparing the position, the social position of an individual or of a person within the same generation. Say at the beginning of his career and towards the end of it. ठीक? Say if I began my career as a factory worker and by the end of it I became a supervisor. That is intragenerational mobility. Clear? अपने जीवन काल में मैंने कहां से शुरुआत की और कहां तक पहुंचा. As policymakers and social scientists, which of the two is of greater interest? Intergenerational या intragenerational? नहीं, both नहीं. Choose between the two. Intra या inter? Intergenerational. Why intergenerational? Because, in any society, it is intragenerational. Which one do you expect to be more in any society? Intergenerational या intra? Intergenerational mobility can be expected to be more in any society than intragenerational. In other words, it is highly unlikely that I am an agricultural laborer at age of 20-25 and I end up as a whatever doctor at the age of 50. It is far more plausible, possible, greater chance that sons of agricultural laborers become doctors. And if the society provides its members that much openness, that many opportunities, then it is considered a progressive and open society. Are you with me? That people are not being denied opportunities because of parental or inherited disprivilege, या parental income level. So we are more interested in intergenerational mobility. ठीक? अगर समाज इंटरजेनरेशनल भी प्रोवाइड कर दे, बहुत है, साफ बात है. प्रैक्टिकली स्पीकिंग वही संभव है. ठीक? तो बताओ, समाज में होनी चाहिए या नहीं होनी चाहिए सोशल मोबिलिटी? व्हाट्स योर सेंस? होनी चाहिए. वुड यू रादर हैव अ सोसाइटी विदाउट सोशल मोबिलिटी और विद? क्लियरली विद. तो लो. हाउ कैन वी एंश्योर अ सोसाइटी हैज social mobility? What are the causative factors or sources of social mobility? Let us try to appreciate. ठीक है. Sorokin has identified 4 major sources of social mobility as follows. First is demographic factors. We're trying to understand what ensures mobility in a society. First is demographic factors. Say this is a society. Say this is the society. Okay? You have a bulk of working class, fewer in middle level occupations, and a still smaller ruling class or upper class. Now please appreciate demographic factors in the sense there is a difference in fertility rates across classes. Simply, who produces more children? The working class or the middle and upper class? Zahir hai, the working class produce more, have a higher fertility rate than the middle and upper classes. Clear? Now, what happens as a society advances? There is an expansion of opportunities in the middle level. We had discussed, while discussing Weber also, you have more managerial and administrative and roles requiring expertise or professional skill as the society progresses. So, you will have more jobs in the middle level, fewer blue collar jobs and this thing top. So, this kind of a, whatever shape it is called, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pentagonal kind of a structure emerges from that pyramidal kind of a structure. Are you with me? Now, these guys are producing fewer children. So say these are producing these many children. Who will fill up all these middle level jobs? From here, who are producing more children. Are you with me? So people from working class backgrounds will start taking up middle level occupations. Yani they will become middle class. What do we call this process? Embourgeoisement, which we've discussed already. Are you with me? So people from working class backgrounds start taking up middle level positions in the society. In other words, what is happening? Social mobility is taking place. Okay? So ये है, according to Sorokin, differences in fertility rates across classes. Combined with expanding job opportunities at the middle level. I repeat, differences in the fertility rates across classes, simply meaning poor producing more kids than, or the working class producing more kids than the middle and higher classes, right? Coupled with expanding job opportunities at the middle level, result in working class children taking up middle class occupations when they grow up. Have you witnessed this phenomena happening around you? For example, I've had women who were housemaids. Okay? So they belong to the working class. and their sons became typists in my own office, which is like a middle class type, middle level, income level type occupation. Yes or no? So this is what? Embourgeoisement or social mobility. Another factor identified by Sorokin is dissimilarity of parents and children. Dissimilarities of parents and children. Meaning what? See, capability, skill, competence is not genetically passed down. Yes or no? Say, my parents were competent and they were therefore able to acquire a high social status. Yes or no? They were able to accumulate wealth. Now, if I lack ability and competence, I may squander away that wealth, and the social position of my family will then decline. The subsequent generation, my children may be smarter, more capable, more intelligent, more enterprising than I am. Then what will happen? They may regain some of the lost fortunes, and once again the social position of the family will rise. साफ बात है, तो fortunes basically change with changes in the capabilities or competence of the family members, which would vary from generation to generation. Bluntly, capable, intelligent, enterprising people can give birth to nikamme children, and all parents think they do. And ulta also, vice versa also, nikamme parents can give birth to enterprising, hardworking, etc. children. So as the capabilities vary with generation, so will the fortunes of the family. ठीक? So differences in the abilities, competence of people in different generations thus result in change in the social position of the family. ठीक? The fortunes of the family will fluctuate, okay, with the level of competence or ability in every subsequent generation. ठीक? Another causative factor that results in social mobility is the change of social environment. Change of social environment. मतलब हम नहीं बदले, माहौल बदल गया. For example, the market environment may change. Say those who are engaged in a particular trade. Sorokin gives the example of, bicycle manufacturers. Those who make bicycles. They were making lots of money at a particular point of time. Now, as technology advanced, the demand for bicycles reduced. So those who were earlier making a lot of money, as bicycles go out of fashion, they will decline in their social, there will be a decline in their social position. Yes or no? Or say, take an example which maybe you can more identify with. Say, those who were, into making typewriters. Okay, they would command a lot of demand or this thing in the market till a certain point of time. But with the advent of computers, etc., the demand for typewriters would significantly come down, affecting the fortunes of those engaged in that. So that would happen to any profession. कि वातावरण बदल गया, माहौल बदल गया, और जैसे माहौल बदल गया, जज्बात बदल गए, किस्मत बदल गई, हालात बदल गए. है ना एक वो पाकिस्तानी जैसा वो कहता है, हाँ, वक्त बदल गया, जज्बात बदल गए, दैट वन. ठीक. So changes in the social environment can also lead to social mobility. In a country, an economy may be doing very well. But then there is a situation of war, external aggression, tsunami. कितने चीजों से environment बदल जाता है? Yes or no? If you reside in a coastal region, there is a sudden tsunami. You may lose all your wealth. During the partition of the country, many people on both sides of the border from very wealthy families, they became Sharnarthis or migrants. They had to leave all their wealth. ठीक? This is what the social environment affecting the fortunes and therefore the social position, resulting in changes, what we call social mobility. Clear? Another factor which he identifies. You want me to pause? No? Okay. If you're writing the previous thing, I'll pause. Another factor which he identifies is faulty distribution. Faulty distribution. Faulty distribution matlab kya? See, what would be a proper or appropriate distribution of people in the society? That they occupy social positions which is commensurate with their abilities, skill or talents. Yes or no? That would be an appropriate distribution of people in the society based on their levels. But in the society, practically, do we have the most competent people only at the top and the most, those lacking intelligence and capability only in the bottom? The answer is no. In other words, you will find many people with ability and competence in the lower strata. Many people without competence in the higher strata. Yani this is a faulty distribution. Right? People are not distributed as per their abilities or competence in the social structure. Simply people with skills and competence, several people with skills and competence are present in the lower strata, while people without skill or competence may be present in the upper strata, higher strata. So this is an anomalous situation, or this is a faulty distribution of people. So to rectify this situation also, society seeks some mechanism to rectify this situation or address this imbalance, for which it requires social mobility. सोसाइटी कंटिन्यूसली ट्राई करती है लोगों के स्किल्स एंड एबिलिटीज को मैच करने की उनकी सोशल पोजीशन से. जो काबिल लोग हैं वो ऊपर जाएं, जो नालायक लोग हैं वो नीचे आए. ठीक? According to Sorokin, please write, according to Sorokin, channels of vertical distribution, there are channels of vertical circulation likho shabd, channels of vertical circulation exist in every stratified society. Exist in every stratified society. Full stop. They are as necessary as channels for circulation of blood in the body. फुल स्टॉप. मतलब जिस तरह रगों में खून दौड़ता रहना चाहिए, जम नहीं सकता, स्थिर नहीं हो सकता, उसी तरह समाज को चाहिए, नेसेसरली चाहिए, अ मैकेनिज्म टू एंश्योर फ्लो ऑफ पीपल बेस्ड ऑन देयर एबिलिटीज एंड टैलेंट्स फ्रॉम वन सोशल पोजीशन टू अनदर. ठीक? फुल स्टॉप. These staircases और एलिवेटर्स, सीढ़ियों की तरह होते हैं जिनको चढ़ के हम ऊपर नीचे आ सकते हैं, आर नेसेसरी टू एंश्योर इफेक्टिव एलोकेशन ऑफ टैलेंट्स टू occupations. Effective allocation of talents to occupations. ठीक? This is where we stop with Sorokin, but continue discussing other causative factors or sources of social mobility. ठीक है? Forget Sorokin. You tell me. Say, you have been made in charge of a district which is very backward, where people are stuck in a rut, in a quagmire of poverty and deprivation. And the state gives you this responsibility, as they've made you in charge as DM of that district, that you have to ensure some avenues for, create, ensure, develop some avenues for social mobility, so that people can climb out of their lowly pathetic situation. क्या करोगे? कैसे समाज में लोगों को ऐसे कुछ जरिए दोगे जिससे वो अपनी सोशल पोजीशन को इंप्रूव कर सके? रेज योर हैंड्स एंड स्पीक व्हेन आस्क्ड टू, नॉट लाइक साथ ब्रदर. Very importantly, education. Education is considered as one of the key tools of social empowerment, one of the key mechanisms to promote or ensure a more level playing field. Yes or no? So people, once they acquire education, thank you, they get, they acquire new knowledge and information. They may acquire professional expertise or domain knowledge. They may become more aware of their rights. Yes or no? So in various ways, education helps in social mobility. Yes or no? Can you give any examples of persons who have risen to the top, empowered by education? Classic example, Bhimrao Ambedkar. Or Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Murmu, President Murmu, or people with a degree in entire political science. Hmm? Sorry? Hello? Yeah. So one empowering tool or a very important avenue for social mobility is education. Another could be legislative measures. Can you think of any legislative measures? Sorry? Which provide opportunities for mobility, such as the reservation policy, constitutional policy measures or legislative measures, such as the reservation policy. Yes or no? So that kind of empowers people from the disadvantaged communities to have a go, to have a shot at the better opportunities which are there in society. Okay? Or it could be through skill development, skill enhancement measures. Right to Education Act would be another important piece of legislation. You know? Skill development, when people are equipped with a superior set of skills, they become more employable, they can fetch a higher remuneration in the job market. Yes or no? अगर आप ज्यादा काबिल हो, आपके पास एबिलिटी है, आपको कंप्यूटर रिपेयर करना आता है, घर पे खाली बैठे थे आप, ठीक है, तो आप 4 पैसे ज्यादा कमा पाओगे, जाहिर बात है, राइट? या आपको इलेक्ट्रिशियन का हमने ट्रेनिंग दे दी आईटीआई में. यस और नो? सो गवर्नमेंट ऑल्सो लॉन्चेस वेरियस initiatives which will tend to enhance the skills of the workforce, making them technically more competent and, you know, vocational training opportunities होती हैं. कितना कुछ करते हैं हम. Skill India program कर रहे हैं. Then it could be economic growth. एक बात बताओ, economic growth is मतलब results in greater mobility, या economic growth is an outcome of enhanced social mobility? Is it a consequence or is it a causative factor? The answer is it is both. मतलब कि as the rate of economic growth in a society increases, it will create more avenues for mobility. क्यों? With economic growth you have urbanization, industrialization. All of these are concomitant processes. साथ में होते हैं. Yes or no? जब देश की आर्थिक तरक्की होती है तो शहरीकरण होता है, इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन होता है, राइट? तो विद शहरीकरण और urbanization, for instance, back in the village, I may be not given certain opportunities because of my caste identity. But in the urban social environment, characterized by anonymity, I can avail newer opportunities. Yes or no? With industrialization, there may be growth of caste-free occupations. Right? Irrespective of my caste, I may get opportunity. So as the economy grows, people's standard of living rises. People's purchasing power improves in general. Also, friends, and the other side was that as the rate of social mobility improves, it also positively affects the growth of the economy. Why? Because, when you have a higher rate of mobility, it means what? That those with abilities in the lower strata, they can rise up. So simply, if the rate of mobility is higher, it means that people's talents are being better utilized rather than getting wasted. The talents of those in the lower strata getting wasted, they'll be better harnessed, leading to a higher rate of economic growth. Clear? Also, social movements community involvement, political mobilization, all of these can also create avenues for social mobility. For example, Dalit movement ने क्या किया? Demand किया from the society, from the state, putting pressure on the state, policy makers, greater avenues for opportunities for those in the lower strata. लोगों को mobilize किया, जागरूकता पैदा की, यानी awareness raise करी regarding people's rights. Say that Dalits, you have these constitutional rights or protections. Yes or no? Education promote kiya, so many things. English language, which is an avenue in our society, which is like an important component if you want to rise up in our society. English fluency, वो training the members of the community को, ठीक है? So all of that also helps to create opportunities for social mobility. पॉलिटिकल मोबिलाइजेशन हुआ तो दलित की बेटी चीफ मिनिस्टर बन गई ऑफ द मोस्ट पॉपुलर स्टेट इन इंडिया. यस और नो? मायावती वी आर रेफरिंग टू लॉन्ग बैक. Democratization also contributes to social mobility. Democratization matlab the spread of democracy, the deepening of democratic ideals in a society. तो डेमोक्रेसी से कैसे सोशल मोबिलिटी फॉस्टर होती है? डेमोक्रेसी, फ्रेंड्स, इज प्रिमाइज्ड अपॉन द आइडियल्स ऑफ इक्वालिटी एंड लिबर्टी. लिबर्टी का क्या मतलब है? दैट पीपल आर नॉट कंस्ट्रेन्ड, दे आर फ्री. यस और नो? टू रियलाइज देयर फुल पोटेंशियल. इक्वालिटी का क्या मतलब है? दैट दे कैन नॉट बी डिस्क्रिमिनेटेड अगेंस्ट. से इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में इक्वालिटी का क्या मतलब है? यू कैन नॉट बी डिस्क्रिमिनेटेड अगेंस्ट इन मैटर्स ऑफ पब्लिक एम्प्लॉयमेंट बेस्ड ऑन योर कास्ट और वर्ड दिस और दैट. आर यू विद मी? So as the democratic ideals of liberty, equality, etc. seep into the society, it also creates a more conducive climate for social mobility. Society also becomes more accepting. Say the higher castes are more likely to, willingly accept the rise of lower castes once they begin treating them as their equals, which the constitution enshrines or the democratic ideal suggests. तो resistance या opposition कम होगी rise पे. Can we take the break in a while? मतलब later, है ना? How many are like now? Now. Democracy, we were just talking about democracy. See it in action. So take your break now. Huh? Guys, please settle down quickly because we have a lot to cover. I'll hold you for long otherwise. Now, so we've understood various क्या नाम है तुम्हारा causative factors or contributory factors, reasons for social mobility. Right? Now, I would like you to get familiar with a couple of studies, systematic studies which try to gauge the extent of social mobility which is prevalent. Okay. Now, one of the prominent early studies was conducted by David Glass. David Glass in English Society in 1949. In England, he conducted a study. He tried to gauge the extent of social mobility in England in 1949. Okay? And compared like fathers' occupations and sons' occupations. I'm not getting into the details except for the conclusions. So what his study found was so what is your guess? Is the rate of social mobility in the UK high or low? 20th century English society? High or low? High. Bilkul. This is also what Glass found, that there is a fairly high rate of social mobility. Matlab, lot of people are changing their social position. You know, they were born in a certain economic strata and they are able to rise up or go down. Okay? You know, the sons are able to say rise up from their class of origin or what their fathers were doing or go down. So there is a fairly high rate of social mobility. But most of this mobility, what he found, that most mobility was short range. Most mobility was short range. Short range means what? That say if in the society there are say there are various levels. Okay, these are income levels. Say this guy is a whatever. He's the CEO. Okay, earning lakhs of pounds, and you have VP level and so on and so forth. Right? And managers and whatever. And here you have the lowest level, say the sweeper. This is the peon. Okay, he is earning, say, hypothetical, I don't know UK में क्या होता है, 10,000 pounds, 15,000 pounds, and so on. And this guy is earning like lakhs of pounds. Okay? So there's a lot of mobility. Matlab, sons of peons are not necessarily staying peons. A lot of them are becoming something else. But most of this mobility is short range. In other words, this guy is going here, yeah, max here. It's unlikely, highly unlikely that this will happen. This is not happening. This is what we would call long range mobility. People rising up or going down several notches. You know, that is not happening. Most mobility was short range. People were basically going to nearby levels. This is what was happening. People going to nearby levels, not substantial jump. Clear? Another study of social mobility was conducted by Pew Research in 2012 in the United States of America. This study was titled Pursuing the American Dream. Pursuing the American Dream. Now, have you heard of this phrase, the American dream? Huh? Are you aware like what it is? What is the American dream? What is the American dream? Yes? Not the best way to put it.
I don't remember exactly what it means. Everyone will have the right to become more affluent by using hard work, innovation and enterprise.
हाँ, मतलब कि the American dream is simply that if you work hard, if you put yourself to it, the American society will provide you ample opportunities to become rich. Anyone, irrespective of their socio-economic background, can make it big in life. Are you with me? American society will facilitate or provide opportunities for people, irrespective of their socio-economic background, to make it big in life. आपका background नहीं matter करता. Your social background does not matter. What matters is what effort you are willing to put in. What you contribute to the society. How much persistently hard work you are doing. Whether you are enterprising. Yes or no? So sooner or later your efforts will be rewarded irrespective of where you come from. चाहे आप अमीर के बच्चे हो या गरीब के हो, गोरों के हो, कालों के हो, immigrants के हो या natives के हो. Born with a silver spoon in your mouth हो या from a disprivileged background आते हो. अगर आप मेहनत करोगे तो कभी ना कभी sooner or later उसका फल मिलेगा. That's the American dream. ठीक? Or simply that hard work pays off. Hard work pays off. Irrespective of one's background. Society won't hold you back. It will only help you achieve your dreams. And yeah, American dream. So what Pew Research, they said that a large number of Americans believe in the American dream. In other words, they do consider that America provides those opportunities, enables one to rise up. ठीक? And it's not just Americans, by the way. People across the globe, in different parts of the world, believe in the American dream, including many in India. So India is not seen as this, America is seen as this land of opportunities. So youth from Punjab will travel all the way to the US to make it big in life. यहां पे जमीन गिरवी रख देंगे, बेच देंगे और वहां जाके मैं मेहनत करूंगा, मैं कैब चलाऊंगा इफ रिक्वायर्ड. कोई काम छोटा बड़ा नहीं होता. सोसाइटी रिस्पेक्ट्स all kinds of labor. As long as I'm willing to work hard, I'll make it big. That is the American dream people other places also subscribe to. Yes or no? Now, what Pew Research says that many Americans believe in the American dream. But is it realized? Is America really that land of equality and opportunities which the people consider it to be? The answer is the opportunities are limited and one's social background matters. हाँ, Pew Research, मैं कुछ नहीं. One's social background really matters. कहाँ? अमेरिका में, 21st century अमेरिका में. Some of the key findings of the Pew Research were 43% of the Americans raised in the bottom quintile remain there. See, for the purposes of research, they divided America's population into 5 quintiles. Matlab 5, brackets of 20%. Right? The top 20% based on income. Okay, the top 20% earning population, then the next, and the last or the bottom 20% based on their income levels. So, if you are born in the bottommost quintile, bottommost, strata of the society, there is more than 40% chance that you will, if you are a child whose parents are in that bottom quintile, even as an adult, your income will lie in that level. There's a good 40% chance that you will stay in the same quintile. Are you with me? If you're born in the bottom, there's a good chance you will stay at the bottom as an adult. Likewise, 40% of the people who were born in the top quintile remain there. So if by the accident of birth, आप अमीर पैदा हो गए हो, top 20% income earning population में, then there's a good 40% chance you will remain in the top strata. In other words, there's a lot of stickiness at the top and at the bottom. There's a lot of stickiness. Stickiness matlab people tend to, remain there. Right? Also, only 4% Americans who were born in the bottom quintile reach the top quintile. Only 4% of those born in the lowest strata will manage to rise up to the top strata. ठीक है, मतलब लॉन्ग रेंज मोबिलिटी ना बराबर है. Clear? In other words, what we can conclusively say from this survey, that one's socio-economic background greatly matters. Parental income greatly affects a person's income in his adult life. मेरे माता पिता क्या कमा रहे थे, उससे बहुत फर्क पड़ेगा कि मैं क्या कमाऊंगा. ठीक? अदर वर्ड्स, जरूरी नहीं है कि मेहनत करोगे तो रंग लाएगी. और ये तो अमेरिका की बात कर रहे हैं, हमारा तो खैर. Let's take a comparative kind of a picture also, which was developed by the Global Social Mobility Index 2020. Now this was an index developed by the World Economic Forum. ठीक है, it covered 82 countries. And it tried to capture या gauge या measure social mobility in these societies based on 5 parameters. Why aren't we using 2023 data? Because this has not been updated. Not by me, by the World Economic Forum. ठीक है? They didn't come out with any other after 2020 or this thing. So this is the only one we have, and it's a good this thing. 82 countries. 82 countries, and on 5 parameters they captured social mobility in these different societies, namely health, education, work opportunities and work conditions, wages. Social protection and inclusive institutions. सोशल प्रोटेक्शन हो गई चीजें लाइक इंश्योरेंस कवरेज, ठीक है ना, मतलब हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस दे रहे नहीं दे रहे, डिसेबिलिटी अलाउंस, इस टाइप की चीजें होती हैं. हाँ. एंड एक्सेस टू टेक्नोलॉजी. एक्सेस टू टेक्नोलॉजी. ठीक है. And what were some of the headline findings of this index? Please write down. Very few countries have conditions that foster social mobility. Very few countries have conditions that foster social mobility. Full stop. In most countries, children born in less affluent families, experience greater barriers to success. Than those born in more affluent families. ठीक. So point is that in most societies your parental income levels matter or affect your life chances as an adult or later on in life, right? As per this index, the societies with the highest rate of social mobility were bilkul Scandinavian countries. So rank 1 was Denmark, then Norway, very predictable, Finland, Sweden, bilkul on the mark. ठीक. America ranked 27th. One American commentator said then कि if Americans want to pursue the American dream, they should possibly shift to Scandinavian countries. There's a greater chance your hard work will pay off in the Scandinavian societies than in America, right? India ranked a glorious 76 out of 82 countries. 82 में से 76. ठीक. So you can imagine the stickiness that you will find in India. Stickiness of wealth or status. More on that later, like in paper 2, we'll discuss the Indian situation at length. This report, the World Economic Forum report, suggests that governments and businesses need to come together to ensure to enable social mobility through progressive taxation, comma, preventing concentration of wealth. What do you understand by progressive taxation? Do you understand? Basically that the rich are taxed at a higher rate. The more rich you are, the more taxes and the more rate of tax you end up paying than those who have lesser income, than the less fortunate. Right? So in India, do we have progressive taxation? Where, how? Income tax mein, so if income is up to 5 or 7 lakhs, you pay zero tax. Then till a certain amount you pay 10%, then 20%, then 30%. Right? That is progressive taxation. क्या लिखा है बेटी? Through progressive taxation, preventing concentration of wealth, comma, holistic protection to workers, and promoting lifelong education and learning. ठीक? Now you all vouched for or you wanted a society with a higher rate of mobility. That's what most of you had suggested, that we should have higher rates of mobility. Why? Why do you desire a society with a higher rate of social mobility than less? How would the society benefit? Yes. So, उससे क्या होगा? So it will be a more efficient, simply assignment of roles to people with the requisite capabilities. It will become closer to a meritocracy. Not a perfect meritocracy perhaps, but it will be a more merit-based assignment of roles. Brother? Equality of opportunity. And why is that preferable? Why should we have? उससे फायदा क्या है? मैं कहूं कि नहीं, इनको देंगे हम सारे मौके समाज में, इनको नहीं देंगे बिकॉज शी इज अ वुमन. क्यों दें हम? क्यों जाए ये नौकरी पे? यही जाएंगे. क्या प्रॉब्लम है? अगर हम इनको भी मौके देते हैं तो समाज को क्या फायदा है? साफ बात है, ये भी 2 पैसे कमाएंगी, ये भी प्रोडक्टिव लेबर में एंगेज होंगी, इनको देख के और भी औरतें आगे आएंगी. हाँ ब्रदर, यस बिटिया. साफ बात है, इट विल इंसेंटिवाइज हार्ड वर्क, है ना. इफ इट इज रिवॉर्डेड, पीपल आर मोर लाइकली टू पुट इन अ हार्डर दिस थिंग. ब्रदर, लेस एक्सप्लॉयटेटिव. तो लिखो, it fosters economic growth, and we've discussed about it, how economic growth is an outcome also of higher rate of mobility. Yes or no? People's abilities are fully utilized rather than getting wasted. It helps towards a merit-based social order. Which is more efficient. It also fosters innovation. Does it? Kyun? How? She's asking how? With a big question mark on her face. How? साफ बात है, irrespective of my background, I can think, I can develop new things, I can explore opportunities, or yes or no? Say, knowledge in such a society will not be the sole preserve of the Brahmins. Yeah? So it will foster innovations also. Technological development होगा ज़्यादा समाज में. one of the key reasons, in fact, why they say that no new path-breaking technology has come from India is because we are a closed society, which does not foster innovation. Lot of innovations in your and my lifetime have come from the West, or specifically US. It encourages people, irrespective of background, to explore and contribute their bit and take risks. ठीक है? So that एक environment create करना पड़ेगा ना. How does it affect the stability of the society? High rate of mobility, does it lead to stability या instability? Stability या instability? Stability. क्यों? Less conflicts. So basically, yes, it does contribute to social stability also. A higher rate of economic growth, higher rate of social mobility also contributes to stability of the social system. क्यों? Frank Parkin, he says, please write down that a higher rate of social stability, a high rate of social mobility, serves as a political safety valve. For the society. Serves as a political safety valve. VALVE. Have you heard this phrase, safety valve, in another context? Yes, regarding the founding of the Indian National Congress. Why was it the Congress called? What was the safety valve theory? Why was the Congress regarded as a safety valve? What is the meaning there? Tell me that theory, no? Yes. It gave a safe outlet for the expression of the political aspirations, grievances of the, aspirational sections of the Indian society. Right? The educated and the whatever who wanted to be a part of the system, they could somehow, without threatening colonial dominance. Yes or no? And that is why those who suggest this theory, they argue it was actually founded by a British former civil servant, A.O. Hume. Right? So that people's aspirations and, etc. could be safely, without threatening the system. Similarly, a high rate of social mobility tends to stabilize the society. It gives an outlet or a safe channel, avenue for the aspirations of the people to be expressed. Simply, if there is a high rate of mobility in society, those in the lower strata, born in the lower strata, but with ability, with aspiration, they will be able to rise up. Are you with me? So their aspirations will be met. If their aspirations were blocked, what will happen? It will lead to frustration building up in the lower strata, which will tend to threaten the society or the stability of the society in the form of a क्या करेंगे फिर हम? Revolution. Yes or no? हम पूरी ऐसी व्यवस्था ही बदल देंगे अगर हमें ऊपर जाने का मौका नहीं मिला. हम एक नई व्यवस्था खड़ी करने की कोशिश करेंगे जिसमें हम ऊपर हैं. But if you continuously accept some members from the lower strata, then people are less likely to join hands with fellow workers. It will, yes or no? Instead, what will you do? You will strive at the individual level to improve your position. अगर आपको लगता है समाज मौका देगा तो आप वर्क करो. आप क्या बाकी सबके साथ मिलकर टाइम खोटी करोगे? नहीं. आप क्या करोगे? आप अपने स्किल्स इंप्रूव करोगे, अपना नॉलेज इंप्रूव करोगे. मैं एक और डिप्लोमा कर लेता हूं, एक हायर कोर्स कर लेता हूं, थोड़ी ट्रेनिंग ले लेता हूं, ताकि मेरी हैसियत बढ़ जाए, क्योंकि समाज उसके लिए एवेन्यूज दे रहा है. आर यू विद मी? दोज हु आर अपवर्डली मोबाइल, मतलब दोज who are born in working class families but who become middle class, they tend to weaken working class solidarity. In the sense, those who are from working class backgrounds but they become middle class, they identify with which class? They feel one with which class? Middle class, not their class of origin. They identify with the middle class. So working class solidarity is weakened. Are you with me? The upwardly mobile, yani mean moving from working class to middle class, weaken working class solidarity. I had said that the upwardly mobile, those moving from working class to middle class, weaken working class solidarity. Their loyalty, their attachment is to the which class? Middle class, not the working class. Yes, this is according to Parkin. Just to clarify, good you asked. What about those who are downwardly mobile? Meaning those who come from middle class backgrounds, but due to happenstance, due to misfortune, they fall into bad times and become working class. They strengthen या weaken working class solidarity? They also weaken working class solidarity. The downwardly mobile who fall down from middle class to working class, they also weaken working class solidarity. So both downwardly mobile and the upwardly mobile tend to weaken working class solidarity. Why? Because these guys, those who were better off and become worse off, okay, they continue to identify with which class? Their previous class, their class of origin. And they, hope for regaining their older status. The good old days will come back. Right? So they continuously hope that this is temporary, it's ill fortune, and it will be reversed. For example, I had this maid. She used to do safai in my home. Okay, so she was a member of the working class. But she told us, please don't tell anybody. But I come from somewhat of a middle class kind of my guess is it was a lower middle class kind of a background. But then, because of misfortune, she had lost her husband and she was compelled to, raise her children using whatever this thing she had, limited skills she had. So she had become from middle class to working class. But she was living in the earnest hope that when her children grow up, they will help to restore her middle class status. Are you with me? कि ये तो थोड़ा सा हो गया, पर हम middle class बनेंगे. So her identification is also not with the working class. They see themselves as middle class. Who's like temporarily in this rut. Take? So in both cases, working class solidarity is weakened, which tends to contribute to the stability of the society. Instead of threatening the society, if working class solidarity is strengthened, social stability is threatened. Yes or no? Workers जितना एक होते जाएंगे, कल को गले काटेंगे. तो वर्कर्स एक होने की संभावना कम होती है. क्लॉज श्वाब. Have you heard the name? Who is he? World Economic Forum founder chairman. Klaus Schwab. He says, and please write, socio-economic consequences. Socio-economic consequences of inequality of opportunity. Socio-economic consequences of inequality of opportunity are profound. Full stop. Increasing mobility by 10% will boost the world's economy by nearly 5% by 2030. Increasing the mobility by 10% will boost the world's economy by about 5% by 2030. And it will also contribute to greater social cohesion. Why social cohesion, friends? Better coordination, cooperation amongst the members of the society. Simply, when you have high rate of mobility, it appears more fair, more just. If I have capabilities, I'll rise up. I may have been born in bad conditions or disprivileged, but if I have the ability, if I work hard, I will be able to rise up. Yes or no? So people will always live in hope. People will always live with a sense of purpose to improve their social conditions. क्यों? समाज क्या कह रहा है कि राजा का बेटा राजा नहीं बनेगा. कौन बनेगा? एक चाय वाले का बेटा राजा बन सकता है अगर आप में काबिलियत है. Yes or no? So it is good for social stability and social cohesion. Full stop. And which countries, friends, will be the biggest beneficiaries if social mobility rates are increased? Which economies? अरे नाम बताओ. इंडिया, चाइना, लिखो फिर. Countries like China, the US and India will gain the most from increase in social mobility. ठीक? So that is about the consequences of social mobility. We are done with the unit of social mobility. Before I forget, an important announcement. You will have a test till social stratification, till the unit on. We are not done with social stratification unit. We will possibly be done in the next lecture. ठीक है? So तब तक का syllabus मान के चलिए. Whatever has been covered in the class till social stratification, that will be the syllabus of the test. The test will be conducted over the next weekend. Matlab not the coming Saturday, Sunday, the one after that. On any one of the days, The date will be communicated to you on the channel, the institute's channel. The date and time, it will be a 1.5 hour test for 125 marks. Okay, and this will be the syllabus. I have told what needs to be told. Okay? The rest you deduce from the previous year's question papers. UPSC previous year's question papers. That will be, you will be giving it here at the institute premises. Okay? And why I am saying, start preparing. That's the idea. So that, and this test is also for the online students. It will be uploaded online and you have to then attempt. ठीक? So this is that. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. कोई नहीं, thank you.